Good afternoon, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here, back with another weather forecast. I do apologize if I've been slacking on the uploads over the last week, and that's because I've been under the weather just a little bit, and also just a lot going on this week ahead of Thanksgiving, and I have a big hunch that I won't be uploading very much at all, maybe one or two videos this upcoming work week, and that is because not only I'm working, but also getting ready for a really big Thanksgiving dinner this Saturday after Thanksgiving. But anyways, let's get talking about the weather pattern this coming work week, and that's because people are going to be traveling all about the United States and out of the country because of Thanksgiving travel, and you all need to be aware of what is coming because we have a couple of snowstorms, we got some strong winds coming, and also much colder temperatures coming out of Canada. Been lacking the colder air this season, but it's going to be made up in time for your Thanksgiving. But before we get to our numerical models, let's take a look at our current weather conditions across the United States right now because we have two systems impacting the United States at this given time. Of course, for the West, been so much rainfall and snowfall. In fact, some areas in northwestern California have had 2 feet of rainfall over the last 5 to 7 days. That is incredible. And there have been a lot of landslides, a lot of river flooding. It's been terrible up there. Also up in Washington and Oregon, just so much going on up there with a bomb cyclone that reached a low pressure of 941 millibars and brought serious winds to Seattle, to Portland, Oregon. In fact, my friend Keith Evans did report a 85 mile an hour wind gust coming in out of the east just a few days ago, part of that bombing cyclone. So it has just been terrible across the West, whereas across much of the Midwest and even over across the East, we've had some subtleties with our weather, a little bit of a weather system moving across Maine at the moment, bringing in some unfortunate weather conditions, some rain, some cooler temperatures, but it's nothing that is expected until we get into, say, Thanksgiving Day, and just before that, the weather pattern is going to change big time. When we look at the latest European model, this is a numerical global computer model which simulates on what the weather pattern is going to do over the next several days, and so I always like looking at the Euro because it's the most accurate during the winter season, and then we typically look at the GFS model. So let's take a look at with what the Euro is showing over the next 7 to 10 days because a lot of people will be flying out for Thanksgiving. People will be traveling across country. That's typical. And in fact, AAA is expecting a 10 to 30% increase in traveling this Thanksgiving, and that's because, well, there's no stay-at-home orders because the pandemic, COVID, is over with, and so a lot of people want to go out and about for Thanksgiving and also for Black Friday, which you will need to know for this upcoming week because everyone's going to be doing a lot of Black Friday shopping. So for today, of course, weather conditions are pretty quiet for the Midwest other than some tule fog or some dense fog over portions of the Ohio Valley. Some showers and some storms going on across the Northeast, but look at where most of the weather's going on across California. I'm telling you, we had almost 2 inches of rain yesterday. Our basement did flood briefly yesterday because of all the rainfall that we've had. Some strong winds. It's just been really rough. A rough go for California, for Nevada, for Oregon and Washington, for even Idaho with a lot of snow. The good news is, or the bad news is, it's going to continue through at least the middle of this week. We're going to get more storms, more heavy rainfall, more flood concerns, and that's just because the weather pattern that we're in just does not want to change, but it will be changing after Thanksgiving. So by the time we go into, say, Monday and Tuesday next week, this is for November the 25th and the 26th, we do have our first initial storm that is going to be developing over the Midwest and over towards the upper Midwest. That's going to bring in some showers, maybe some thunderstorms, nothing too significant with that, lackluster any moisture. It's going to be progressive pretty quickly, so it doesn't have a whole lot of time to kind of capture in that moisture from the Gulf Coast of Mexico. And then, of course, cooler weather in the wake of that, but nothing like what you're about to see, though, until we get to Thanksgiving. But look at California. More atmospheric river moisture is anticipated with strong winds that will continue over Oregon, over California. So more flood problems will come back again. Also, some heavy mountain snowfall. So if you're going to the mountains, say on Tuesday or Wednesday, probably not a good idea to do that because the weather conditions are just not going to be favorable at all. And then this is by Tuesday, the 26th and the 27th. And then by Thanksgiving Eve, I know it's not a term that people use, but I use it because I work at Safeway. I always say Thanksgiving Eve and then Thanksgiving Day. And you can see for Thanksgiving Eve on Wednesday, yes, lots of heavy rainfall, lots of snowfall over the Midwest of the United States. And then look at what goes on. It really just blows up here on the Euro. This is the 12Z European model. If we look at our previous run, it was not showing much of a bona fide system, and even the run before that is a little weaker. So we have seen a little bit of an uptrend here for our Thanksgiving snowstorm over the upper Midwest of the United States. We'll see if this continues, because boy, if it does, this is really going to be bad. Maybe some flight cancellations, flight delays. Road travel could be severely impacted because of this storm for the Midwest. And then, of course, it goes into the Northeast. It does that nor'easter look, only it's a little bit more inland. But look at all this snow. This blue on your screen, that's a lot of moderate to heavy snowfall for the extreme Northeast, including for portions of Canada. And then much colder air in the wake of that. So this is going to be kind of the reinforcer. The first system moving through on Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday-ish, is an appetizer. Once that second system comes in, we're going to see some serious cold weather. The GFS has a little bit of a different take on what is going to happen, which, by the way, that is through Friday and Saturday. So if we go out over the next 7 days on the Euro, you can see much colder air is going to be in place. Looking at the GFS, you can see, of course, for California, going to have to deal with more atmospheric river storms, more heavy rainfall, more flood concerns, maybe some thunderstorms out of these as well, warmer air advection. So we're not going to see a whole lot of cooler temperatures, more like the upper 50s to lower 60s. But you can see for the Midwest, that first initial storm moves through. That's your appetizer of the second system that comes in, which will bring in a much amount of colder air. That cooler air to the 540 line, which is thicknesses in the atmosphere. So in simple terms, the 540 line is your average freezing line in the deep layer of the atmosphere. The further south that goes, you can get some more wickety, wonky weather pattern or a wickety storm that can spin up, which actually ends up happening here. We'll take note of that. Look how far south that 540 line goes into northern Texas. That is going to trigger this massive winter storm here. Some heavy snow, some really intense winds, and some lower pressures, and even some very heavy rainfall in portions of the Appalachians. It's been a while since you have had a lot of rainfall, so it's welcoming for you all to get more rainfall there, but there could be some flood concerns with that. And that system moves on through, and to end out the work week through the last day of November, much colder air is going to be moving in out of Canada. I'm talking temperatures could be 35 to 50 degrees below average, especially up here in the Dakotas and Minnesota areas. So big pattern flip is coming with those temperatures. As far as your snowfall totals go with this winter wonderland in time for Thanksgiving, this is the European ensemble. We're not just looking at one individual run. This is a blend of 51 different members, different versions of the model. And you can see for the Northeast here over the next 7 days, you could get anywhere between 6 to 12 inches of snow. Some areas up here could get a couple of feet of snowfall. So just in time for Thanksgiving travel, it is not going to end very well, unfortunately. A lot of road travel problems, flight travel. Also for the Great Lakes, looking at quite a bit of snowfall. And then whatever's left with our unsettledness all across the west, you can get additional snowfall. Anywhere between about a foot or two is anticipated, especially for the central and southern Sierras. According to the European ensemble, going pretty aggressive there with maybe 4 to 6 plus feet of snowfall through the next 7 days. Now, a big thing with this is going to be much colder temperatures that are going to arrive. These are your temperature anomalies for the next 7 days. Well, not for the next 7 here, because we're going to walk you through this pretty thoroughly. But you can get an idea. Blue shading, green shading is temperatures below average. Orange, red, and dark red shading is temperatures above average. So you can kind of get the idea where temperatures will be feeling more like mid-fall for areas like the Midwest for Monday and Tuesday before the first initial shot of cooler air moves in. This is the European ensemble, 51 different versions of the forecast, and you can see the first initial bout of cooler air going to only bring down temperatures maybe about 3 to 5 degrees below average. But wait until you see the second pocket of cooler air. There's your first system going to advect warmer air into the region. That's why we're not seeing snow in the Appalachians. So temperatures 5 to 15 degrees above normal for the southeastern U.S. before it really comes down a lot. The temperatures you can see by this is pretty much by Thanksgiving or the day after Thanksgiving. Black Friday shoppers are not going to enjoy the much colder temperatures. Well, unless you love the cold, maybe it's not going to be a problem. Across the West, too, going to see much cooler temperatures. And then look at this for the Midwest. Really, really chilly temperatures are anticipated. And you could see here temperatures could be on the order of 15 to 20 degrees below average through the end of next week. Yes, through the end of next week, and that is why the Climate Prediction Center has a lot of blue over this area. That means temperatures are likely to be well below average. We could see some record daytime low-high temperatures. So the lowest temperature during the day for the time of the year could be represented here in the upper Midwest, also the upper Midwest, and even for the northern plains here of the Dakotas and Minnesota. Now, why is this pattern going to be changing? Well, when we look at our jet stream, you'll see why that is. This is the 500 millibar jet stream at 18,000 feet above the surface. And you can see areas where the winds are stronger. Those are the redder colors. And you can see the pattern that we're in, more zonal. All right, we're getting more flow coming out of the west here, moving over to the Midwest and even out across the Northeast. This is going to keep the colder air to the north, all right, across Canada. But once the pattern changes, and you'll see that here, once we get ridge of high pressure that builds across the west, troughing for the east, you'll see this pattern change. Take note, northwesterly flow. The polar vortex comes really far south into Indiana and also over the Great Lakes. That is going to advect a lot of colder air out of Canada. So you get this northwesterly flow wrapping all the way around this jet stream. We get a big superstorm that develops here over the Northeast. This will be for Thanksgiving Day, Thanksgiving Eve. The evening of Thanksgiving Day, I should say. And then it just kind of re-amplifies. So we get a big polar vortex that comes out of the north, big ridge over the west, big trough over the east. And when we look at our height anomalies, you can see the difference. Look at this. This is pretty crazy to see. You can almost think about wherever there's below average heights here, that's below average temperatures. Above average heights, you typically see warmer than normal conditions, unless there's tule fog, which California might be dealing with under this kind of weather pattern configuration, especially after getting a lot of rainfall. The air mass is going to be really moist, so we'll have to keep an eye on for some of these valleys across the west coast of the United States to see if we get any tule fog or any thick ground fog formation, especially for the valley, for Oregon, and also for Spokane in Washington. Well, anyways, if you found this video really helpful, detailed, and informative for Thanksgiving travel and for Black Friday shoppers, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the like button, and share this video with their family and friends on social media. Once again, I am very sorry that I have not been uploading here on the channel over the last week or so, and that's because I've been under the weather kind of off and on. There's been a lot going on with 2 funerals that I had to attend yesterday and the day before, and so that's why I just have not had time to do any uploading. But I'm really hoping, despite my work schedule this week, we will be able to at least upload 2 or 3 videos throughout the Thanksgiving holiday week. All right, but anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you back here soon.